Well, good morning, everyone. I guess for us it's morning.
Indeed it is.
I don't know when you're listening to it out there.
Could be any time of the
Could be
day.
about any time. Welcome again to One Fremont, our show here at Fremont County, where we keep you up to speed on as much as we possibly can. To let you know what's going on here in the county, what's coming up here in the county, some of the important things that each of the three of us are dealing with and handling at the moment. I think, just as in way of introduction, I'm Kevin Grantham, Fremont County Commissioner, District 1.
Debbie Bell, Fremont County Commissioner, District 2.
And I'm Dwayne McFall, Fremont County Commissioner, District 3. Good morning, good day.
Good morning and good day, and whatever time of
Good evening.
day.
And good night.
And in conclusion,
Thanks for listening.
thanks for listening to our show today. It actually has been a while, hasn't it?
Seems like it has. Yeah.
I'm trying to remember when we actually, was the fair the last time we sat down together?
I
Yes.
think so.
Wow.
It was. So the end of July.
Wow. And before that, I think we were out in Philadelphia. For the
Sunny Philadelphia.
mostly sunny. It's
Hot.
always
It was
sunny in Philadelphia, from what I understand.
Except when we were there.
Except when we were there. Yeah, it was a little rainy, and it wasn't too bad. But that was an enjoyable conference, and we had a great fair. And now here we are in the midst of all sorts of other things, getting ready to transpire here for the county. And we'll talk about some of those things. I think first, let's just talk real quick about our BOCC meetings, just to give folks a quick update. There's not a whole heck of a lot that it's kind of the typical summer agenda where we don't really have to deal with a whole lot of the typical fare, especially when we get down to budget time. But I think our last meeting was probably one of our shortest agenda, not the shortest meeting in time, but we tend to stretch things out. But I think that there is something important in the last meeting I think that we do need to talk about.
But before we point that out, I would like to point out that our chairman generally controls the flow of the meetings. So, Commissioner, Mr. Chair Grantham, you are telling on yourself here.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay. I think the millions who watch us around the world probably already know.
And speaking of which, if you want to watch our meetings, you can go on our YouTube channel and go back and watch those meetings and see what was done, what was decided, what was accomplished. We did have we had two things in particular for new business. They were short agenda items. But one was a recognition of our motor vehicles. So an audit, I think the audit is done by the state?
It's done by the state, yes.
So like the Department of Revenue, who kind of controls that
Exactly.
part. They do annual audits, I believe. And bottom line is the motor vehicle department got a perfect score. And it took into account a whole lot of things when it comes to the building, the department itself, how Brian, our security officer, helped and how he was friendly at the door and directed people. And so we got to recognize Dottie and Berta and Jeanette for their exemplary performance and scores in their performance audit. So that was pretty awesome. We had some fun with that and got to recognize them.
I think one of the most interesting things about that is the state does not tell you we're coming down next Monday or 3 weeks from Thursday. They show up at the front door and they say it's audit time. Of course, they always do it in the middle of summer when we have folks on vacation, when we have, 20 people standing in line waiting to get their license plates or whatever it might happen to be. They show up and they're like, here we are, let's get this done. And so Justin Grantham, our Fremont County Clerk and Recorder, talked a little bit about how everyone that day just stepped up to the plate. It wasn't just those three women that we recognize. We recognize the entire department because they were covering for each other. Everyone was stepping up, doing extra work. extra business, just taking care of the things that they really needed to take care of that day. Also, I would like to mention that Justin also let us know that the state counted all of the numerically numbered items that they keep here in our building. I believe the number was around 3,300, but I know there were several thousand, and every single thing that they counted was spot on. They didn't find any issues, no problems, no missing paperwork, nothing at all. And so, yeah, we're really proud of the folks who work in that department for us.
It sounded like that was kind of a rarity.
It did.
Well, as they were talking about it, because the main one, I think the main piece of paper that they were talking about is title papers.
Yes.
So vehicle titles. And apparently that theft of such things is a thing, which I guess shouldn't be real shocking.
Not in today's world.
Not in today's world.
Unfortunately.
But, the fact that they had all accounted for is remarkable and a testament, I think, to the work that they're doing down there.
Well, I'll tell you, motor vehicles it's weird how some days there's not a soul comes through. 5-10 people a day seems like. I don't sit there and watch, but other times there's 20 or 30 people in the hallway.
Yeah.
And it's in the middle of the month, end of the month, first of the month. There's no gauging of when that's going to happen. But having that many people in the hallway and the system that they have where they sign up, they're notified on their phone. Some people sit around and wait. Some go sit in their car till they get that notification. But those lines, they go pretty rapidly.
Right.
They work those people through there very quick and efficiently. It's pretty neat to see how quick it does go. I know you come in and you're in line for a minute and you think, oh gosh, it's going to be forever. It's usually not that long.
It isn't. And you walk out there through the hall and you see one set of faces, and you walk through a few minutes later and it's a different set of faces.
Yep.
So they do move that right along. And I think a testament to the whole system that they got down there now. We got these monitors out in the hall, and of course they have the speaker system. They call people in, and things move quickly and efficiently.
Send you a
from what I've
text on
seen.
your cell phone.
Yeah.
It's great.
You also have the kiosks. I think, is there one kiosk in the county?
City Market, right?
Down at City Market.
Yep.
Yeah.
I use that one, which, I mean, it's convenient. Since I'm here all the time, I could do it here, but try to use the kiosk down there to take one more person out of the line. But that's available for you if it's a simple re-registration.
As well as the drop box here. If it's
Yeah.
just a renewal, just put your check with it, drop it in the box, and
you get them in the mail.
Yep.
Yeah. And you can do that online too. And so lots of convenient ways for that registration to happen. I think most of the people that stand in line down here have other things that have to be done that can't be done with such simplicity.
Yes.
Which makes
would
it that
agree.
much better for those folks because they're going to be sitting at a desk a little bit longer than the others. So anyway, great job to our clerk's office and the Motor V department, and appreciate all the hard work that they do. The other one, we got to have a proclamation for Security Officer Appreciation Week, and we got to recognize Brian Smith, our building security officer, and the great work that he does, and the great work that a lot of security officers do around this state, around the nation even. The sometimes thankless job. I think we understand thankless jobs, and
Occasionally.
and security officers, are one of those folks that ends up in a thankless job, sort of like IT. They kind of do things behind the scenes for us.
That's right.
They get a lot of the blame. Why is my computer not working? Well, have you turned it on? Oh, yeah, that sort of thing. But
Who also, even though they work behind the scenes, I will say in all seriousness, they also can be the heroes of the county.
Yeah.
I mean, they are the heroes of the moment when we're having problems, issues. And Brian is exactly the same way here in this building. I made the comment last week that during our meeting that he is the most congenial, easygoing, always got a smile on his face until he doesn't. And when it's time to get serious, the man is serious and he will take care of business. So he's a great guy, and I think he's the perfect person for us to have in this position.
he takes it. He takes the role very seriously, but he's also just the nicest guy, like
He
you were
really
talking
is.
about.
Yes.
And he's a great person even though that's not really his role to be, I hate to put it this way, the Walmart greeter.
The cruise
for
director.
Fremont-
How about cruise director?
Cruise
That
director.
sounds a lot better.
Cruise director. And I hear him all the time. You know, somebody comes in, he greets them warmly, and if they need to know where to go, he knows where to send them.
Yep.
It's not like we said, Brian, here's what you need. You need to send them here and here and here. He does
He
that.
already knows, yeah.
That's a pretty good thing for us to have there. So we really appreciate the work that he does above and beyond his security role. So that was essentially our meeting back on September 9th. We do have a meeting coming up tomorrow. There is, our typical stuff.
Tomorrow is the 23rd, by the way.
23rd, tomorrow. Thank you.
Yeah, September 23rd.
So if you are listening to this on the 24th,
It's not tomorrow.
you can watch it online.
Yeah.
We have a few things coming up on the 23rd for our regular BOCC meeting. We do have a proclamation recognizing Domestic Violence Awareness Month. It's always good to have our folks in from our organizations here in the county. This one from Family Crisis Services, bringing awareness to domestic violence. We do have a CUP tomorrow, several appointments. And we were actually talking about this prior to hitting record. And just checking to make sure we hit record.
We are recording.
And I think we're gonna talk about that maybe in one of the upcoming meetings very soon. One of the upcoming OneFremonts, where we'll talk about our volunteer boards and commissions. I think those are really one of the things that makes the world go round here in Fremont County. And we'll give a description of some of those boards and availability for service. We also have a minor subdivision, a zoning change, things like that. So it'll be a little bit busier meeting tomorrow. Anything else on tomorrow's meeting that you can think of?
Not on the meeting per se. I just want to throw out there, as you said, we'll talk more about the committees and appointments and stuff, but there are some currently on our Fremont County website that you can go on and look at.
Yeah.
And as they become available or open, they are posted on there so you know what is available. And said we'll get into those more detail, but if there are some now, which I believe there are, they are on the Fremont County co.gov website.
And they're very, very easy to apply for. You click on the Apply Now button and fill out a little bit of information, hit send, you're done.
Excellent.
Yes.
And we kind of wanted to wait till a little bit closer to the end of the year because that's when typically terms expire and people decide that they want to serve somewhere else or let somebody else serve. And so we'll talk a little bit more about that in one of the upcoming shows. Why don't we go ahead and we'll go one by one, talk about what you guys have on your mind and go from there. Dwayne has this spread of paper in front of him like he's going to be talking for the next hour. So settle in, folks.
Settle in,
Here we
buckle
go.
up. Here we go.
Kevin and I can just take a nap for a bit.
Yeah. So can you mute them? Yeah. No. So we're right in the middle of the budget process as well. This time of year, all the departments are going through their budgets and with finance, and then we go through everybody's budget as well. One piece of our budget is payment in lieu of taxes. PILT is what we call that. And what that is monies collected from the federal government for the federal lands that we have in our counties that we cannot collect property tax on. And I just returned from Washington, D.C., where along with about 40 other commissioners from all over the country and anyone who has public lands, which is 62% of the counties in the United States, we're there lobbying Congress to get payment in lieu of taxes funded. Yearly, we have to lobby them to get this funding to come to our counties. It is imperative for a lot of us. The money goes to road and bridges, law enforcement, search and rescue, medical, emergency medical, fire protection, in some places solid waste disposal, and environmental compliances on those public lands. So it is quite of a burden on the counties, especially those who don't have a big property tax base. Some counties have 97% public land, so therefore they have no property tax, very little property tax that they collect. So this money is imperative for those governments to at least have those services available for the millions that come and enjoy our public lands. Colorado itself has 23,703,000 acres of PILT entitlement acres. That's $51 million in Colorado. That every year we have to worry about them passing, and we are again, they're working on a continuing resolution right now, passing this in one of those bills so that we know that we have that money next year. We're working on the budget. We're counting on it in our budget. However, we won't know till they pass their continuing resolution whether we'll have it or not. So Fremont County has just under 500,000 acres, and we get around $1.4 million from the PILT every year. And a lot of ours goes to Road and Bridge to help maintain the bridges, roads. We don't have near enough money going to those departments to start with, so this little bit that we can help with, it does help. So we had some really good meetings out there, meeting senators and representatives. We break off into teams for those people that went to DC, break off into teams and go hit those senators and representatives and express to them the importance of PILT. You get east of the Mississippi and they almost don't even know what public land is, much less what PILT is. So those are the ones that we really tried to educate and get them to understand how important it is to the counties, because their people also gain from our public lands because they come visit them. So it's not just that we have them and they don't. You go up there now and you'll see license plates from New York and Pennsylvania, everywhere, all over the place.
Go out here on Highway 50.
Highway 50, yeah. And it's not just us, it's all the western states. We have so much public land out here in the 15 western states that they just get bombarded, especially after the COVID debacle. People figured out we had public lands and they're enjoying them. So it was a good thing to go out there. We also have Secure Rural Schools, SRS, we call it, which is, to us, it's not as huge of a deal as it is to counties like in Oregon and Washington, where they have a lot of timber harvest, or lack of timber harvest, I should say. We get about $100,000 a year from Secure Rural Schools, and that portion of that goes to the schools, and then some for search and rescue. That was not reauthorized as of 2 years ago, and the last payment has already come. So unless they reauthorize that, there will be no more SRS payments, period. And that is really detrimental to a lot of those timber-producing counties, because it made up for some of the loss that they were having from not having timber receipts. So hopefully the timber industry will kick up and help those out. But even in our counties where we have lower value timber, there is still some value in the timber. And if it's not incentivized enough for contractors to come in there and get it out, it sits and it dries and it dies and it burns. And it's just a continuous cycle. So we also push for that to try to get a reauthorization of that. We'll see how that works out. Congress kind of holds these things as a pawn sometimes.
They
You
sure
vote
do.
for this and I'll vote for that, and not even knowing what they're not or voting for part of the time. So it's kind of frustrating. But
What?
yeah, imagine that. But we do put up a really good fight here in Fremont County. We used to be dependent on PILT, where we had used it to balance our budget, because we do have to have a balanced budget, unlike the federal government. We've worked our way very diligently, as we speak about all the time, being budgeting conservatively, where if we don't get this PILT, it's not gonna ruin us. It'll hurt a few projects and things that we have, but we can get by. But some counties 100% depend on this money. So it's important.
So real quick, talking about PILT, and I was just kind of looking through our sheets. We're anticipating getting 1.4. Is that what we were talking
Yes.
about? 1.4 million. And I think we're still fingers crossed on that.
Correct.
But looking at all the things that we use that on, pretty important stuff, that to take care of here in Fremont County, including our Department of Transportation. It's a good chunk of it goes to that, our capital expenditure. We don't actually put any of that into our general fund. Historically, that maybe not quite the case.
Correct.
In fact, one of you, you both have more historical perspective on it. You certainly do, Debbie, about how PILT was used for balancing.
Yeah.
at
So
one point in time.
when I came into office in January of 2011, still at that time, 100% of PILT went into our general fund. And if it wouldn't have been for PILT, we wouldn't have been able to balance the budget. I mean, we would have, but it would have meant another $1 million because that's about what it was. It was just slightly north of $1 million, and the number has grown to 1.4. But it used to take that $1 million to actually balance our budget here in Fremont County. So it was going for everything at that time. Basically, it was going for all of our other departments and expenses. And now, I don't think any of it goes into the general fund. We started that a few years ago by starting to siphon off some of it in a bridge replacement fund. And we just realized, we're doing better financially here at the county. Maybe we don't need to balance on the back of PILT because, as Dwayne clearly said, we never know if we're going to get PILT or not. We're always well into the budget cycle trying to decide, are we going to get it or are we not? And so that's been a really scary thing for us over the years here in Fremont County. But now we have weaned ourselves off basically from depending on PILT to be able to balance the budget. And so what started as a $50,000 a year, siphoning off into a bridge replacement fund, now has become basically a $1.4 million a year to pull it out of the general fund and to put it to all of those other projects, which I think it's money very well spent, and it's money that we still need coming in.
Well, and that helped us pay for the Grandview Bridge, which we recently
Absolutely.
replaced.
Right.
Which
Right.
was not a cheap bridge, a little over $3 million.
Yep.
So putting that money in that fund for those bridges, because we have several bridges in Fremont County that need work or replaced in the near future.
And those things are so expensive. It's we're always looking for grants for those things and trying to stay ahead of that. I think our current fund reserve from PILT for bridges is $300,000. Now that doesn't even get you started on a bridge project, but it does help with any kind of match that we might have to do for grant funding, et cetera. There's also a reserve for our airport runway improvements. We're going to be having a major project here in a couple or 3 years out at our airport. So this will be some of the funds used for that, for those grants. Excuse me.
Is that
Sorry.
his cutting out, or is it? Oh, every once in a while it kind of fades.
Sorry. I'm sitting here leaning back in my chair and
You're
not up
relaxing
against
too
the
much.
microphone.
You're relaxing too much.
I'm done talking. You're
How
supposed to
dare
wake
you?
up.
I didn't wake up yet after Dwayne got done talking. Sorry about that. So, anything else on PILT, SRS? Great historical perspective on where we were because, man alive, those are some tough times back then. Late 2000s, that recession that happened, and then you were elected in 2010. That was right kind of on the heels of where all that stuff was happening.
Was.
That's pretty tough on our county officials, especially back at the time. It was Larry and Ed and Mike at the time,
Yep.
having to balance based on PILT money that you didn't know was coming. And then if it didn't come and you'd already set the budget, then you're redoing the budget and you're making cuts where you.
And those were pretty terrifying times
Yeah.
here in Fremont County. Yeah.
They did some pretty tough work back
They worked
then.
magic.
They did. They did.
Yes, they really did.
And, many times we stand on the shoulders of giants, and they did really good work
They did
getting us
amazing
through
work.
tough times.
Yep.
So,
And I just want to throw in there too that this is only one piece of the puzzle that we all three, advocate for. Whether it's federal government or state government, there's pieces that we need to solve, we need to resolve, different things like that we're all advocating in it. And we all three have different lanes that we're in, and all very positive for Fremont County when we can make something happen and to help the county out. We're looking out for the county and in some cases the state as well, because it's a federal issue or something. So it's something that we do all three fight hard for. And that's why we're involved with National Association of Counties and Colorado Counties Incorporated and trying to get our voices in there to make things happen positively for rural Colorado and Fremont County.
Well said. I think the advocacy work that we do, some days it feels like this is all we do is advocate for Fremont County. Other times we kind of shake free, and clearly we have a lot of other responsibilities too. But I think that's a really important one, is to advocate for the citizens of Fremont County, and I think we do a really good job of that.
In many facets and
Many
capacities,
ways,
we
yes.
do.
Yep.
Okay, Debbie, what's on your mind?
Budget, and more budget. So we spent last week mostly sitting in budget meetings and working on the 2026 budget. But when I say we are working on the 2026 budget, that's really not the commissioners who work on the budget so hard. Our Fremont County Assistant County Administrator and Finance Officer, Sean Sutton, is the one who sits down with our County Administrator, Tony Carochi, with all of our other elected officials, with every department head, and they sit down, they start looking at budgets, they go over numbers. And this year's budget, we are very, very pleasantly surprised. So far, we haven't seen any kind of request that we think is frivolous, that we believe is just out of the reach of Fremont County. Our department heads and our other elected officials have been very solid in budgeting this year. We all know, we've talked about quite often at our board meetings, that the 2026 budget numbers for property taxes could be very interesting. We don't exactly know yet what that's going to look like, but we are anticipating some drops. We're anticipating some different numbers. You never know what sales tax is going to do. So, you can look at it and say, well, it's a great big guessing game. But if that's the case, the people that we have in place do a better job of anyone I've ever seen at guessing those numbers. We always do budget very, very conservatively here in Fremont County. And I think the county government and our people are much better off for that. Everyone in Fremont County, because we still have money at the end of the year. We never are looking to go into arrears and saying, where can we cut? What are we going to do for this? Because we do budget very conservatively. Our other elected officials are exactly the same. And all of our department heads, I think, know and understand what to expect from us. And so they know what we are likely to approve, what we are likely to not approve. And so those are the requests that they come forward with. And so sitting down and looking literally line by line by line at I don't know, hundreds, maybe a couple of thousand line items in budgets, it can be very taxing. But I think that we have the easiest part of it, because we're not the ones putting that budget together. We're the ones taking a look at it in the end and saying, does this make sense? So that's kind of where we are right now. Still waiting to see a couple of our major funds that we still need to take a look at. But so far, we have just been incredibly pleased with what our people are doing for the 2026 budget. And as soon as we have it finished and ready, it will be up on the website. We do have some major dates coming. We will be setting a public hearing for the budget, all of those different things. And so kind of stay tuned, and we'll let you know when it's available, when you can take a look at it. And you too can go line by line and look at every single thing that Fremont County budgets for.
Yeah, that, as you said, we're in the middle of that process right now, kind of the review, getting the nitty gritty from Sean and our finance team, and making some decisions and little things. But the yeoman's work that he does for us,
incredible,
getting us to this point. And then obviously, like you said, the public hearing, October, November, December are the decision months when it comes to that, and public review, and then our public meetings in order to adopt the budgets. We've been kind of talking about budgets. I mean, with PILT and with budgets and everything, it's remarkable. I want to emphasize something you mentioned about all of our department heads and our other elected officials and the great work they've done. There are other counties where the commissioners don't have it so good.
There are. We've had conversations with some. Or
right here in Colorado.
When we have folks that get it, like you guys do, like we do, when it comes to budgets. When it's good times, when revenues are coming in, you don't spend everything and commit money into future years just because times are good. If only the state would do that. Oh, my God.
Well, one of the things that I think we do struggle with the most is when we're asked to start budgeting something that will be an ongoing cost, something that is not a 1 year only, like adding another staff position, because we know that that's going to impact not only the next year's budget, but every year's budget after that. So we understand that looking at it right now, sure, this makes sense. This looks really good, but what's going to happen next year? What's going to happen the year after that? Is this sustainable? And so those are, I think, for us, the biggest struggles that we have is the sustainability moving into the future, because it's easy to look right now and see this is where we're at. But, you know, even though none of us were in office in 2008, 2009, I think that budgeting hangover still exists.
Oh, yeah.
We remember how bad those years were with the recession, the housing crisis, all of those things that were happening here. We never want to go back to those numbers.
No.
So.
No, I think that's a perfect way to put it. We still have that hangover, and good,
Right.
I mean, we're always able, just like at home, we can look at a tough budget and go, hey, maybe we don't need that right now. We got the money, but maybe we'll hang on, see if we really need it, kind of thing. And that's kind of where the county's been for years.
Well, and those who don't remember history are bound to repeat it, right? We never want to repeat that. So I think we're always going to remember.
And our reserves right now, what did Sean say? We're at about 3-4 months of reserves.
Yes.
Which is really good. I mean, there's a few counties
That's
that
without
provide
anything
matches.
coming in. That's just, if we had that money. And
Imagine the scenario where we had to empty our accounts in order to pay all of our bills. We would last 3 or 4 months. Now, that may not sound like a lot, but that's significant. Granted, if we were in a situation where that was necessary, there's something bigger going on that we'd be more worried about. But having 3 or 4 months of reserves is great. And there's very few counties, I think, that would actually be able to say that. Weld County's another thing.
They're a unicorn.
They are the unicorn with all the oil and gas they have and those revenues. They are a very wealthy and independent county.
Well, and gaming communities as well, right?
Yes.
They have so much money coming into those communities that Fremont County won't ever see.
Right.
Ours is a steadier, I think, cash flow that revolves around a lot of different things. We're not dependent on just one specific industry here in Fremont County.
Right. And speaking of, anything else on budgets and whatnot? I gave my little poke to the state already on that.
Which we've all come to expect, by the way.
We've seen their inability to manage budgets very recently in the news with their special session.
They do find it easy to send us unfunded mandates, though.
They do.
That cost the counties a lot of money.
Don't they, though?
And for folks listening, most of you, I'm sure, are aware of what the unfunded mandate, what that is in general. They pass a law up there requiring something to be done. They require counties to do something. They require cities to do something, but they don't pay for it. And when we're trying to be good budgeters and good stewards of folks' tax dollars, and then the state says, we're going to pass a law that says you have to do X. And so then the legislators and the governor get to say, see what we accomplished? Well, they didn't accomplish anything. All they did was create a mandate on somebody else to pay for it and do it. And I'm looking across the table at my colleagues here, and it's just you can imagine the shake. They understand, they get it. They've been doing this a lot longer than I have. It's frustrating because they'll take credit for all this great stuff they're doing, which they aren't doing except for creating the mandate to do it without any funding to go along with it. It's a frustration that all the counties and cities are dealing with. And one of the things that we fight at CCI, Colorado Counties Incorporated. We will continue to advocate for our taxpayers here in Fremont County and the citizens of Fremont County in regard to that. The one thing I want to talk about, I got to go to a soft opening, I guess you'd call it, of Miticus yesterday afternoon. And I got to tell you what, folks, that old plant out there, if you're familiar with Highway 120 as you're going east out of Florence before it turns north to head to Penrose on 115, 120 branches off there. And everybody knows the Amrise, what's now Amrise, the Wholesome plant, cement plant out there. Well, on the way, about halfway down to Amrise, you come across the Domtar plant. But if you blink, you miss it because it's down off the road, it's down towards the river, and you don't necessarily see it unless you're looking for it. That was the old Domtar plant. That was a gypsum board plant, sheetrock plant. And they tried to turn it into many other things over the years since that shut down. I never remember the year when Domtar shut down, but
it's been decades. It's been a very long time.
It's been a long time. Mm-hmm. And over the course of time, since it really hasn't been in use since then, it went into decay and disrepair, and it was pretty awful. You can imagine, given current homeless situations and crime and animal, birds, infestations,
raccoons,
and all sorts of things. I got to see this building a couple years ago when they first were looking at buying it. And yeah, it was pretty awful. I wouldn't want to have been the one with the shovel scraping off that floor. I wish I could remember the numbers, you two, because they were telling us the number of truckloads of stuff. And we're not talking a couple or three. We're talking
I'll bet.
Dozens and dozens and dozens and tons of material and waste that were taken out of that. They had to completely tear off one of the roofs and put a new roof on, new siding on. They're going to be having a regular grand opening probably within the next month and a half, maybe somewhere in there. And I can't wait for you guys to see this place.
I'm really excited. I was sorry I couldn't make it yesterday. I had a family obligation.
It is.
So I couldn't get there, but I'm very excited to see it.
It is night and day, and they're talking about not just the housing builds that they're going to be doing. They're talking about putting in a production line for the steel studs for steel construction of houses, plus several other things that will be going on simultaneously in this one roof. And boy, is it exciting, because they're talking within a couple or 3 years, they could be talking 200 to 300 employees out there. That is huge for this county.
Yeah, absolutely.
When you start talking about private employers, I'm not sure how many Amrise has, but it's got to be our current largest private employer.
I think so, yeah.
This would easily rival that, if not exceed that. And all sorts of different things, and good paying manufacturing jobs that can keep people here in Fremont County. And so that was exciting. That was an exciting thing for me this week. There was something else that happened for me this week. I can't remember what it was exactly, but we'll those that know, and I won't use this venue to talk about it. There are exciting things going on with Fremont County, though. Anything else? Any last words?
Any last word? That sounds very ominous.
Any final thoughts? How about that?
Just thanks for listening. I really appreciate the fact that Lenny in our IT department is able to get us hooked up and to get this done. I think we managed to sound very professional when the podcast finally is aired. And so I appreciate everything that it takes to get into.
We will not be putting a survey or a vote online poll on that assertion that we sound professional. We sound as professional as Lenny can make us sound.
That's exactly. That was really what I meant right there. Yes.
Yeah, I just want to echo that. Thanks for listening. Those of you that do, spread it around. We try to get information out there that you may not hear otherwise. Thanks for listening.
I also would say if you have an idea, if you have something that you want to know more about here at Fremont County and think it might make a great idea for a podcast, contact one of us. Let us know. We'd love to hear from you and find out what's on your mind. What do you want to hear from us?
And one of those things that we'll still be trying to get, we have to wrestle them down. The other elected officials and department heads, they're busy, busy, busy. And so we'll still try to do that and get them in here for interviews and to talk about what they do. So
absolutely.
Again, thank you. I'm Kevin Grantham.
Debbie Bell.
Dwayne McFall.
And we are your Fremont County Commissioners. And this is One Fremont. And we appreciate you listening. And One Fremont now is signing off.